Hmm. Oops, that one. That guy. It's not the right color. That's the right color. Okay, cool. Let's get this video started. Probably going to start off with the 4 hour. Next key zone is right around that 12K mark. Next zone's like 13.3. Okay, cool. Can I auto this one too? Don't like an auto this one. That's okay, it'll get smaller. Okay, cool. Let's get the recorder and get this thing going. Hey traders, welcome to another crypto market update. We just did a global macro update talking about the FOMC decision as well as the interest rate decision that was for the United States, and that would potentially impact the market, but they left it the same at 25 basis points or 0.25%, so there's not a whole lot of impact within the market. S&P does look like it's taking that pretty well, moving to the upside, breaking a small term resistance zone, which is going to further validate our risk on sentiment, which means that we're going to be looking for longs on Bitcoin as well as some alts that we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's get right into it. This is the price action of BTC on the daily chart, and we know that this around 10.5-ish K zone was a very important level to pass. We broke it, we retested, not precisely, but we do see there's that small wick that's going to create some sort of indecision in the market, and it looks like we're coming back to the upside. We'll look at it in a smaller time frame, but it does look like it's squeezing pretty well. So the next key levels that we're currently seeing for possible levels of resistance is 12K for the next one, and then around 13.3, we see that was a high back in the summer of 2019, as well as a support and resistance multiple times back in kind of 2017, 2018, that high there. So we're slowly climbing up here. We see that we're kind of gaining ground from the long drawn out kind of consolidation we're seeing. And it's just a matter of, are we going to continue the trend, or are we going to see the positive correlation within the S&P basically create a little bit of worry, because I do think that the S&P and overall equities could have a continuous move to the downside because of the second wave. Uncertainty, fear, I just don't think it's over yet, and there is positive correlation between Bitcoin and more traditional assets, but we'll see where it goes from that point. There's slightly decreasing positive correlation where it's less correlated over time, so that's really good to see. So that's the daily chart. We see push, that's a very strong impulse move. We see an exhaustion point that we're occurring right now, and I think that next impulsive move could occur. So let's go on to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the 4-hour and see what we're able to identify within this strong push to the upside. We got a nice consolidation. We're able to hold that nice support series of higher lows, and then we just put a ascending trend line here, and then we put a descending trend line, and then when we are on the 1-hour time frame, we do see a nice little symmetrical triangle here, pretty well respected. We do see a breakout where you see there was a lot of hesitation. If we're just going to get into it, this is not classified as a breakout right here. That is not a breakout. This theoretically could be a breakout because you see a break, but I would look for the recent high, which is this, to get broken. So we recently got an impulse push to the upside. That was the impulse push, and then right here we're seeing the consolidation, correction, or market breadth, and then we're kind of at the highs here where we're still holding the series of higher lows. We could get a little bit more aggressive with them if we would like, but overall we're seeing a series of higher lows push the price towards a horizontal level of resistance, which is around 11.3, I would say 11.3 is a pretty good level. That is our current level of resistance. We've already broken the descending zone, so we are on an uptrend, potentially moving towards the upside here if we break that 11.3 zone, and then the first target for this particular price action pattern would be around 11.7, and I think that we could get some overperformance to 12K because that was a very significant level that we saw on the chart. So in short, Bitcoin is bullish, but I do want to see that price break above 11.3. We see that there is significant volume accumulation within the structure of the price action, which is great to see. And there are many signs, not just in crypto, but as well in the global macro environment that does suggest that the risk on sentiment is going to continue. So as of right now, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin. I am looking at another altcoin that has moved in tandem or very positively correlated with Bitcoin, and that's Ethereum. So we'll look at the altcoin market information and tools first, and then we'll go and jump into Ethereum, and then we'll go over the rest of the alts that do look like they have some potential. But I think that Ethereum is going to be the place to be if BTC does move to the upside again, because a lot of alts did not perform well and Bitcoin was moving aggressively to the upside. They were actually moving down. Capital was flowing out of alts into BTC. You saw the Bitcoin dominance increase as well. And I think the only real altcoin that did very well during that time was Ethereum, because it's the most established altcoin in my personal view. So there's going to be a lot of capital flowing into it. And the smaller altcoins are going to be a lot less. So quick look at the overall altcoin market. We do see that the price is still moving to the upside. A little bit of hesitation at the previous high, but we see lots of volatility within the altcoins. Tremendous amount of volatility. But overall, we do see it's pretty aggressively moving to the upside. So we know that on average, altcoin market caps are rising. Not for every single altcoin, but if you accumulated all of them together, it would still be moving to the upside, which is a positive note for the alts. Quick look at the BTC Dominance. We are seeing a move to the upside. Previous key level of support is getting tested for a new level of resistance. Just a consolidation. If we start to see a move back to the downside, definitely we would want to be looking for alts. But if we start to see a break and then a retest here, we could be seeing a potential further move for the Bitcoin Dominance to the upside, which would mean that we want to be heavier in BTC and looking at BTC more so than the alts. But right now, we're not really at that point yet, so I'm looking at both BTC as well as alts, but I'm looking in one in particular, which is going to be Ethereum. Let's get rid of that. Not really going to talk about volatility. It's already increasing. We know that. And then there's no real gaps other than the one at like 99 on the CME Futures Exchange. But don't really have too much more that I want to get into involving that, because I don't know if we're actually going to get all the way down there. They don't need to fill, right? It's not a guarantee 100% hit rate that it will fill. The one that we created back in early summer of 2019 took like 6 months to fill. So it takes time. It's a little bit contradicting what my overall bias is, which is bullish. That's why I'm not covering too much. And we're expanding in volatility to the upside. So we're looking for continuational patterns to the upside. So this is the other pattern that I'm looking at. This is going to be Ethereum paired with USDT. We see a series of lower highs and higher lows squeeze the price towards an apex of the structure. The key zone that I'm currently looking to see the price pass before I like to enter is 325 right there, where we see strong levels of resistance hold the price down. And I think if we are able to get the price to break above and retest this zone, it'll have a nice continuational push to the upside. And I want exposure in Ethereum if it does construct that type of price action. So what we're looking for would probably be something along the lines of this. You get a nice push to the upside, you get a nice retest, strong validation that this previous high has been broken. You get a retest of the previous resistance as a new level of support. You could, if you really wanted to, in a small time frame, draw in a descending wedge or triangle around this zone, and then you'd be looking for the same thing, break and retest of the major structural zone right around there. So that would be the type of entry that you'd want right around here, and what you'd want to do is put your, let's get our long position. You can put a stop entry above the recent highs. You get triggered in when the momentum comes towards your direction. Low below the previous low. You're looking for the size of the triangle, the symmetrical triangle. In this particular one, breakout zone was around there. And then you could be looking at maybe a 2 risk reward at a minimum, and then you'd be looking to just trail your stop loss, move your stop loss up manually just by market structure. You could do moving averages, parabolic SARs, whatever your method is to try to let winners run. That would be the method that you would use, but the ideal initial take profit or area that you'd want to see the price hit ideally would be around 360 in my personal view. So then let's take it back to the daily chart. We don't need this. So let's look at 360. Ballpark 360 to see if there's any, oh yeah, very strong level of resistance, very strong level of support, very strong level of support, resistance. So yeah, around 360 I would say is a good area for a possible first level of hesitation for the price for Ethereum. Could very well blow through, and that's why we like to use different methods to try to capture more profit if it does provide us with explosive move. But at the kind of minimums, we're just looking for the size of the symmetrical triangle, which is around 359, 360. So that's what we're going to be looking for Ethereum. If we get a little bit better of an entry, that's great. Our risk reward will be even better. And what would that look like? Well, that was a pretty aggressive push to the upside. What if we get something like this, right? A little bump up, and then it holds. I'd be very comfortable with that as well because it's holding well above the zone. You could be looking for a structure like so, and then you'd be looking for your long position. Let's get the long position. And it could look something like that, which is going to yield you a better risk reward, 2.7. So that's quite a bit better than 2. It does very well depend where we enter, but I think you can get a minimum of 2, but 2.5 to 3 would be the ideal situation for this particular trade. And then if it goes further, it goes further. So that's going to be the trade I'm looking at in terms of the alts. I do have a couple others that look somewhat similar. But like I said before, it's not just the price action that you're looking at, but how the actual asset is responding to certain market environments. Right now, we see Bitcoin move to the upside quite aggressively, and it's taking market share. Bitcoin dominance is increasing, meaning that alts are actually losing market cap and the whole crypto market cap into Bitcoin. So capital is funneling and flowing from alts into Bitcoin. And we got to understand and ask ourselves, okay, well, why in the world would we look at alts when Bitcoin's the one leading the charge? Well, we wouldn't look at random alts, like number 55 on CoinMarketCap. We wouldn't do that. The only alts that we would be interested in entering, because they probably could have a higher appreciation or a better risk reward, would be the alts that have done well in the previous BTC market pumps. And that's primarily Ethereum. There are some others, but I like to use Ethereum. It's liquid. Almost everyone can trade it. And it usually outperforms Bitcoin when there is a huge bullish push. Not every single time, but in history, Ethereum has proven to be a very positively correlated asset with Bitcoin, that if Bitcoin's moving to the upside aggressively, capital is not flowing out of Ethereum into BTC for the most case. They're both getting bids, which is really good to see. So that's why I'm a little bit more biased towards looking at Ethereum instead of some of these other alts that we will talk about. But the next thing we're going to talk about is, yes, another alt. It's BCH, Bitcoin Cash. Very similar structure. We got a symmetrical triangle with a series of lower highs and higher lows, squeezing the price closer to the apex. And we're looking for not only the price action pattern to break, which would mean a break in the descending trend line. Just a reminder, we're never looking for shorts in a bullish market. It just does not make sense. The risk rewards are not good. The dependability is not there. We're looking for continuation pattern in a structure like this, and we want to see the price break the descending trend line as well as the horizontal zone of resistance sitting maybe just around 293, 294. If we do get a break and retest, that would be a really good opportunity. And let's just look for possible outcomes kind of like this. It could take a little while, but this is the type of structure you're looking for. Break, retest, validation, and hold. You could be looking for a nice structure like this. Maybe here you could be looking for a limit entry on a low right there, whatever your plan is. A stop entry above the high, so it enters you in right when the momentum starts to kick back in. And then you'd be looking for, let's just, oh, come on, arrow, there we go. And then we'd just be looking for, let's see what number is the target for this. And we haven't broken yet, but we do have to make sure that it breaks. So not absolutely great, but if you see something like that, that's something that you'd probably have to do just so you have a decent risk reward. Obviously, we don't exactly know what's coming to fruition. If it's just going to be a small little nice break and retest, it'll be something like this, so you have a much better risk reward. But we'll see where it goes. Hasn't broken yet, so we don't want to put our bias and project our opinions too quickly with the price action pattern not yet fully developed. Litecoin has been doing pretty well, which is kind of surprising because it hasn't been a relatively strong project in the realm of crypto, but it actually has been doing pretty decent recently, showing relative strength to some of the other alts that we're looking at. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. Like I said before, Ethereum is the one that we really want to be looking at just because of the aggressive positive correlation, whereas some of the other alts are not seeing that positive correlation. And right now, it does look like BTC is leading the charge and alts are kind of lagging behind. So we want to keep that momentum and make sure that we're able to capture an alt. If we're going to be trading alts, that will probably move along with BTC if BTC moves to the upside. Litecoin is a possibility, but it's not going to be a first option for me. The first option is going to be Ethereum. And if, let's say, Ethereum just absolutely has a monster break and there's no pullback, there's no hesitation, I'm like going to the washroom, things happen, life happens, you might not get the entry, then we'll look for other altcoins that still do look like they have high probabilities, like BCH as well as Litecoin as well. So right now, the current zone, it's a little bit larger, but I'm going to go just a hair larger right there. So around $56. Let's just get our, don't really think we have that there. Nope, price label. So around $56 is where the breakout zone is for Litecoin. If it goes above there and retests, that could be an indication that we could be moving to the upside. If you really want to be safe, $56 or $57 at the next high would be a little bit more dependable trade, but I think a little bit lower here. If you see other alts rise, could provide some really good risk reward opportunities. So don't really see anything right now for an option, but I think Ethereum is going to be the pair to be looking at for this upcoming next couple days here, in my personal belief. Bitcoin Cash is not bad. It looks pretty well respected, but because Ethereum has done so well when BTC moves to the upside, you kind of got your feet in both pools, where you got the altcoin side as well as the Bitcoin side, where if Bitcoin goes up, some alts might not go up, but you have a pretty high probability that Ethereum will go up as well. Not a whole lot to discuss on other ones here. Zcash is not doing okay. It's not really providing any sort of nice structure for us to trade in, so I don't really love it. So I'll just leave that there. Litecoin, we already talked about within this structure. So then we also know that the $50 zone, we can see right here, is a major key level. So around right there. So if it does move down to that level, we know that that's a key level of support. But right now we see this little structure right here. So we're just going to be keeping our eye on that. Kyber Network is another one that we were keeping an eye on to some degree, but is not able to break this descending zone. But something to note, the fact that this is an extremely well-respected descending zone does give us a little bit more dependability when we are looking at inevitably longing it if it does actually break to the upside. We can see that the previous one didn't really give us much of an option in terms of retests, like at all. That would be the zone, or the next one up. This one would be the zone right here. Candle, 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 all along here. That would be the zone. So I do see a wick. So if you are really looking, and if you wanted to snipe, oops, we do see a wick actually retested that zone, but I like to see candle closures. So that's not the most ideal, but you're not going to get it every single time. That's just the difficulty of waiting for a retest. But anyways, we can see that if this descending zone does break again, we could see a pretty aggressive move to the upside. We're going to get some strong risk reward structures that could play out. So that's why I'm kind of having it on my Chrome section here, just because if it does break out, it could yield a pretty good opportunity, but I don't want to enter if there's no real reason to. So let's quickly look at the trade I'm currently in. I'm currently in ADA, or Cardano. Entered here, rode it up, came all the way back down. I accepted it at this point in terms of the risk I was taking on, and I still have pretty good confidence that it could still move to the upside. We got a nice double bottom at this previous resistance right there, which is good to see. We did not get a retest of this previous resistance, and it was pretty well climbing up. So then I entered at the completion of this candle right there. So then you got to move up, and I was not really well in drawdown. We mentioned it to the Performante Premium members about this exact trade. So I'm just waiting at this point. It'd be nice to see the price start to trend back up, because we did get a break in this descending trend line structure and then a retest. So that's really good. And then not only that, but you also saw the break in the descending trend line, but also this not really well respected, this right here. This horizontal zone is now getting tested as a new level of support. So that is great to see, and I think the overall trend is moving back to the upside. I'm probably at this point going to move my stop loss up to there. So I'm basically cutting my risk by like a third, maybe, yeah, somewhere around there. So we'll see where it goes from there. But that's the low that I do not want to see the price pass. If it goes below that low, I'm going to assume that the trade is no longer valid. It couldn't make it higher because the initial target was like at almost just under 0.16. So hasn't made it yet, but I'm still pretty optimistic about this opportunity. I'm very okay with holding on to it. We see that nice support there. We see a higher low. Yeah, I'm very open to holding on to this trade for a little bit longer to see where it takes me. So that's Cardano. Mentioned it to the Performante Premium members there. VeChain is not really doing much, but we do see a nice descending zone that could play into a possible breakout at a certain point. But right now, we definitely don't see anything that is worth trading in terms of longs, and we're not looking for shorts. Same thing with Chainlinks. Chainlinks been consolidating, well respected. I think it will have a really nice breakout when it does break out, but right now we're just seeing a nice descending wedge structure, and then a new breakout zone is going to be right there. So we're just seeing it slowly trend down, which is totally normal within really any trending market, but I do want to keep my eye out because Link is one of those that could just absolutely rock it and can provide like a 5, 10, 15 risk reward or even more. So We'll see where Link goes, but there's nothing really to do right now for VeChain, Link. Binance Coin wasn't so bad. It didn't actually break out as aggressive as I thought it would. If we're looking at the 6 hour, for example, we see this very well respected ascending triangle formation broke to the upside, retested with a nice wick that validated the previous resistance as a new level of support. And then we got a nice trending move to the upside, and we can see this previous support is now, or previous resistance is now acting as a new level of support. So we are looking for continuation here. Initially, I thought this triangle looked okay. Let's just take some of the stuff off because it's looking a little bit messy at this point. Take all that off and just very, very clean, very, very simple. Let's get the ray. Oops, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for this. There it is. So we know that if we go to the 6 hour, this zone is a possible support area, and we see a descending zone right there with the wicks and then the candles on a smaller time frame right around there. Get a nice little projection. And while I'm covering these altcoins, we have to remember that out of all of them, I think Ethereum is the one to be in. If you're going to be in one, Ethereum is the one to be in. Just because Ethereum performs better than most alts when BTC is moving to the upside, but you also get the basket of Ethereum being a alt, so you actually get the more speculative investors to look at Ethereum as well. So you get both ends of the basket, which is really a positive thing, in my opinion. So Binance Coin is looking not too bad. We got a nice contraction in volatility. I think the daily or larger time frame gives it a little bit more perspective, where you get a impulse push, corrective, impulse push, corrective, and then it looks like we could be setting up for a nice impulse push to the upside for the next target. You could probably draw an ascending zone that's going to give some confluence to an area of support right there, or area of resistance. We can also see that this zone is very well in line with possible key levels of support and resistance. Support right here, resistance right here. So that's going to be the next zone for BNB in my personal belief. It's just not ready yet. It's still contracting, but if it does break, we will be looking. And then let's just put a nice horizontal zone right there. That's going to be the base that we want to see a retest on, if it does break to the upside. So that's going to be the overall altcoin market update. Quick look at relative strength and weakness. Covered basically all the stuff that's on there. Litecoin is one of the top, if not the top. Bitcoin Cash is on top as well. EOS is doing not bad, but like it's -3 in compared to BTC. So it's not really that great. You want to be looking for things that are actually doing better than Bitcoin, or else why would you be in alts when you can be Bitcoin? So Litecoin is one of them, and that's kind of about it. In terms of paired against USDT, Litecoin is up there. We also see stuff like BCH, Bitcoin Cash, ZEC. We did look at ZEC. It wasn't too spectacular. EOS is up there, not too great. And then you see Ethereum just up there as well with EOS as well. So I think the main thing we want to be looking for is Ethereum. Big potential play here for Ethereum in my personal view. And then also we're going to be looking at Binance Coin, which is an absolutely awesome. We're already in Cardano, so I'll just keep my eye out for that. Probably going to reduce my risk to just below those wicks there. So it's like maybe a half, a third, something like that. But in short, main thing is going to be Ethereum and BTC. Mainly Ethereum. I'd really like to get in Ethereum when it breaks above 325 and retest that zone. That would be a really good opportunity in my personal belief. So that's going to be the completion of the crypto market update. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, definitely drop them in the comments below and we'll be sure to read them. If you thought this was useful, informative, educational, if you got value from it, it would be great if you would like the video and subscribe, because it does help us out. If you think that there are things that could improve the channel in some way, shape, or form, just specifically talking about the YouTube channel, Please write in the comments. We take constructive criticism well, and we are always trying to learn how to improve our content, I guess. Not really trading, because that's just me personally doing it, but we do try to make the content more approachable, digestible, easily understandable, so more people are able to benefit from the content we provide. So, yeah, if you have something that would be helpful for the channel to grow or something like that, that would be great if you would kind of see our 2 cents. And if not, I hope you enjoyed the video. So until next time, have a good one, everyone.